Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting ready for our second series of the day in Immortals Academy and Evil Geniuses Prodigies. And if you missed the first series, guys, please, no spoilers for anyone that missed out, because you got to go back, go onto YouTube, watch the VODs, or on twitch.tv or whatever for LCS or for Academy, the VODs. It's going to be there for the Barrage and Team Liquid Academy series. It was incredibly awesome to watch and unfold. So please, do yourself a favor, find some time. Even if you got to speed run it on 2x just to save some time, do it. It is totally worth the watch. But we have Immortals Academy and Evil Geniuses Prodigies up now. And so with the win from oh man, well, we just I don't want to reveal any spoilers, but Immortals Academy going to be taking on EG Prodigies. Because of the player issues that we were experiencing earlier with that setup, Evil Geniuses Prodigies will be losing a ban on their game 1 against this in the draft for Immortals Academy. But going into this matchup, Smacks, we have to kind of refresh a lot of the setup and prep, because we did talk about them for 20 minutes before we had to go into them for extended break. So kind of getting a quick TLDR, as we will be getting into Champ Select very soon here, Smacks. What are some key takeaways that we're looking at for both of these rosters?
Yeah, so big things in this matchup, as we do see the rosters there down at the bottom. For Immortals, coming into this one, they're sort of that middle of the pack Academy team. They did place 5th overall in that regular season, and going into that Northern Arena tournament, the Arena of Legends, they did bow out very early on into this one. So these 5 players are really looking for that knockout punch to show everyone that they are contenders in this tournament. And honestly, for Evil Geniuses Prodigies, it's much the same, where over the course of the entire amateur side of things for Proving Grounds, they haven't been able to break into that top team conversation with people like NoOrg and like Barrage and like Sola Fide as well. So for these guys coming in too, they're also looking to make that same statement. Whoever wins this series is going to accomplish part of that goal and advancing over to those winners quarters. And I'm really excited to see which team actually does that. We've got some really interesting matchups, and I think most notably the mid lane matchup here, Rafa. We're going to see some really cool things. Just to start here, I think Pretty has had a really big linchpin mage pool for the side of Immortals Academy. Things like the Orianna and the Syndra have been really big picks for him and for activating the entire squad.
And then on the flip side of the token aspect, being able to match a similar champ pool, as well as other picks that not many other players are pulling out within the amateur scene or academy scene as well. But in the context of Evil Geniuses Prodigies, Aspect is not necessarily a player that they rely on as a primary carry or being able to be a huge win condition, but he is a facilitator. He is a role player for this team, and he puts a lot of his own resources into snowballing and investing them into either Shiro or Tomio.
And he was and is one of the premier Galio players in that mid lane, and even on his team too, where he does have one of the other ones in Mist, as it is a flex pick for this team in the Evil Geniuses Prodigies. That very well could be that facilitating champion that we see from Aspect in a matchup like this against Pretty, who does rely very heavily on these mage champions. And for his jungler too, for Tomio, who really likes to go for very aggressive early invade plays where he likes to keep up the tempo in his regard and have the game just go according to the Tomio script, which is oftentimes very chaotic and very fun to see happen in front of our eyes.
And for Immortals, I already know that you kind of started talking about Tomio for a little bit, as he is going to be one of the primary win conditions for Evil Geniuses Prodigies, and this kid being super insane in the jungle. For those that did get a chance to watch the Honda Scouting Grounds event last year, he was on Team Infernal, and you saw that when his lanes are all doing well or set up for success, then he loves being able to just aggressively invade and create leads for himself against the enemy opponent. And for someone like Potluck, who has been favoring junglers like the Graves over other stronger meta champions in terms of Udyr or Hecarim, he is someone that is susceptible to those invades, and especially if Immortals Academy don't have a strong draft for lane priority, Potluck can be punished here in the early game.
Especially if he is on that Graves, as you mentioned, who can be very susceptible to that. And he can really fall to the wayside in comparison to a lot of the meta farming junglers. And even the ones that we just saw in the previous series with the Olaf and the Lilia, those two can work out very well against a champion like Graves. And those two are champions that Tomio can pull out. Maybe less so the Lilia, but the Olaf, the Udyr, the Hecarim, if he can get his hands on any one of those three, then you know the Evil Genius's Prodigies are in for a wild ride, and we are as well as we get to watch it.
Yeah, and Champ Select is on the way, ladies and gentlemen. Both teams are locked in and ready to go. And so when it comes to the first bans for Immortals Academy, they're going to be blue side in this first game. Remember that Evil Geniuses do lose out that first ban because of the player difficulties and the issues we ran into earlier on the day. Kai'Sa going to be taken away from Shiro.
One of Shiro's premier champions alongside things like the Samira in that bottom lane. We touched on him a lot at the top of the day in the stream. For Shiro being one of the top prospects, just as a whole, I would say, for the amateur side of things on Evil Genius's Prodigies, just a incredibly mechanically skilled player on the side of Evil Genius's Prodigies. And up against Keith, Keith is typically the player who likes to facilitate Joey in that lane, where he likes to play things that leave him on an island, things like the Seraphine, the Jhin that we've seen out of him. It really does just service what Joey wants to do, which is roam around and help Pretty and Tapoon and Potluck get ahead earlier on, which is a very admirable goal. If we're being completely honest, for support, you often do see that the best supports in the game are the ones who just roam around and make sure that you're supporting everyone, not just AD carry. So excited to see what Joey can do as we get through these bans. Rather curious to see that both of these premier junglers are taken away by Evil Genius's Prodigies. Does leave Tomio with a bit of a shallow pool.
You know, all that talk about Joey roaming around the map. Spoken like a true support there, Smack says. Hey, that is your main role. Immortals Academy, notice that, hey, there are 2 junglers banned. So what's the third best jungler that they want to lock in? It's gonna be Bambi herself, aka the Lilia.
Lilia is one of those champions that I really like on red side, especially because you do get to lock in a counter pick mid lane most of the time, and you do get to just completely control over that lane, and oftentimes all of the Raptors as well, as Lilia is very good at doing that. But it can be a bit tricky to operate on the blue side because you don't always get that counter pick. But Nidalee, you're talking about how I'm a support, so I know stuff about that. You are a Nidalee player, so tell me a little bit about this.
So remember we were talking about how Tomio wants to get into the face of Potluck, and we're mentioning things during our 20-minute long vamp about, hey, Tomio is a fantastic Nidalee player. It was one of his most played during the Honda Scouting Grounds event. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the few champions that can get into the face of Lilia early on, even though Lilia is known for being able to do cheeky things like Raptor Red into Raptor, stealing away from the enemy champion. Nidalee doesn't care about that because she's just going to try to chuck a spear at you and just tear you down, looking to get the pounce on. As Immortals Academy, seeing that the Thresh is being picked up, they're going to go for, as you know, you mentioned in the previous series, the lane quote-unquote counter in Senatom Kench. And this time it's not a Jinx. It's being picked up for Shiro. It's going to be a Varus. So a little bit more utility with the Chain of Corruptions and potentially some long range. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Smacks, but if Shiro goes for the lethality Varus, we have a poke composition being made here.
It certainly seems that way, Rafa. Of course, for Varus, you have those 2 different options. You can go for lethality, and that build has been working rather well, not only for Varus, but also for Sivir in this game, where the Manamune has been given a lot of power, and there are so many different options you can go for the lethality, where things like the Serpent's Fang have been introduced to the game. You get a lot of stealth from your Duskblade, so these sort of caster AD carries have been given a nice boost in that regard. So if Shiro wants to go for that, then he certainly has that option, but he also has the option for the on hit, and I'm really excited to see which one he does go for. But like you were talking about, Rafa, this is the beginning of a poke composition, perhaps, where you have the very long range, very lethal skill shots of the spear throw and the arrow.
Well, Smacks, from our experience, how do we beat poke compositions? You bull rush them, you hard engage, you stop them from being able to set up the siege and the poke. Because otherwise, they're just going to will you down at the turrets and they'll force you off objectives, or they'll try to get vision control around those objective entrances for the Dragon or the Rift Herald / Baron, and they'll try to ward you off. If we really go down the path of setting up a full poke composition, we might see the likes of a Zoe coming in for Aspect. We haven't seen it in quite some time, but it would fit that profile there. And then you want to make sure that with investing into a lot of poke for this composition, you want to make sure that you have strong disengage tools as well. Chain of Corruptions and Box are already great to start. I want to see if they decide to maybe invest into a Gragas if they want to get for even further disengage and displacement for the Evil Genius Prodigy squad.
Both Gragas and Zoe together would leave Evil Geniuses lacking some physical damage, so they are instead going to lock in this Camille for that top lane. And Surdy going for this blind does mean that he's not super keen on, or he's not super worried about getting counterpicked up in that lane. It is more just to service that early aggression from Tomio and this Nidalee. And if you do have that hook shot, stun landing, and then into that Spirit Toss, you have yourselves a very long range and deadly duo up in that. So for Tapoon, he sees that and he's like, I don't want to die. I want to live. I'm going to pick Sion, so you can't kill me. And that's exactly what he does.
Well, we talked about hard engage, Smacks. Sion, definitely one of the ways to do it. And it's not as on demand and as easy to execute as Malphite, when it comes to ultimate pressing. But, Unstoppable Onslaught, if you hear the choo-choo train and Evil Geniuses Prodigies are not able to get out of the way, then they will get knocked up, and, that might be enough hard engage. And like you said before, Smacks, when it comes to the two champions that Pretty is well known for, it is Syndra and Orianna being locked in here. Now, Aspect, what is the option here that you want to lock in against this mid lane?
Could be that Galio that would pair very well with the Camille. No, it's instead going to be the Orianna. So both Pretty champions are locked in for the mid lane. I really like to see that one. It does leave Evil Geniuses Prodigies with a double magic damage jungle duo, but the same is true of Immortals Academy.
Yeah,
So we'll see if a Verdant Barrier raises its stock in this one. I believe it was actually nerfed on the patch that these teams are playing on right now. So maybe they don't like it anymore. Maybe it's just Mercury treads for everyone. But regardless, lots of magic resist will be very helpful, especially for Evil Geniuses Prodigies, because on the side of Immortals, they don't really have that much burst on this composition. They really just have the Syndra there, who's going to be dealing a lot of magic damage in a short amount of time. But past that, the damage is Senna. And if Senna is your sole DPS, might be a little bit tricky. We'll see.
You'll have to wait for quite some time. You are banking on Keith being able to scale up, collect those souls, while Joey is farming up and, being a big, strong, beefy Tom Kench in that lane. As, with this being a fasting Senna, one of the things that we mentioned at the beginning of the day, at the top of the day, is that a lot of the strengths that come from this Immortal Academy bot lane is that when Joey is actually unlocked from this lane, he's able to make proactive roams. But that's not going to happen because he's the one that's farming. So he's going to be the one that's actually tied down in this lane where it's going to be Keith that is roaming around. Now, there was a stint and period of time where Keith did play support.
This is true.
It wasn't that great, but that's okay. It's okay. Things happen in the past. The past is the past. Now is the present. And then things, these matches are how you are able to make up for and continue evolving and moving forward. And so Keith, he knows the patterns and the timings of being able to roam as support here. So we're going to have to see how well he can coordinate with Potluck, being two of the more seasoned and experienced members on this roster throughout their time in LCS and Academy. Maybe they're going to be the ones that are going to try and coordinate this team to success in this game one.
Some interesting updates in this one. First of all, Shiro does appear to be going for the on-hit build. He has the lethal tempo equipped as his keystone rune. That typically means that not quite going for lethality. Another update is that there's a 2v2 bot lane fighting.
just some level 1 trading, you know. As Keith actually takes a lot of damage. Okay, well, I wasn't expecting it to be that much of a deficit for our Immortals Academy off the back end. But, you know, Shiro missed, trying to accentuate their laning prowess as much as possible. But for this Nidalee and Lilia matchup, this is one of the things I am just so damn excited for, because Tomio is a very exciting jungler to watch. And then on one of his signature picks, as we're going to have to hold that point, Smacks, because Joey and Keith are still taking damage from Shiro and Mist. They're just getting right up in their faces fighting for lane control.
They don't call it lethal tempo for nothing, Rob. You
True.
do not want to be in range of Varus when he activates that rune. He will attack you a lot, we're seeing in that one. Speaking of attacking a lot, though, we're seeing in this game that because Immortals have such a low damage threat composition, that for Evil Geniuses, they're already thinking about and equipping themselves for the possibility of long extended fights. And part of that comes from Tomio taking Conqueror on this Nidalee, which I think is very cool.
Now, do you know the reason why, though, Smacks?
Tell me.
All right. My time to shine. I'm the color caster. You're the play-by-play now. So the cool thing about Nidalee, when investing in the Conqueror runes, you get things like either Alacrity or Tenacity. So either extra attack speed or more crowd control reduction on your just ability in terms of survivability. But the idea is that investing into the Conqueror rune gives you better skirmishing potential, as your auto attacks become that much more powerful as it ramps up your adaptive force and being able to trade. But Aspect, we're going to have to hold that point, because he just might get solo killed by Pretty here, but Tomio coming in with a flank. Does he want to flash for it? And Surdy is also here on the roam, so they guarantee it. First blood for Tomio.
Wow. Really nice punish there from Evil Genius's Prodigies. Surdy off of that roam, off of pushing that top side. He's still in the area, so Potluck can't do anything around this crab, or can he? They have a teleport coming in, so yes, they actually can. I was wrong. Potluck gets this crab, but it is at the cost of his mid laner dying. Luckily for Immortals, Pretty does not have to use his flash, or does not choose to use his flash, I should say, in that exchange, as we get a replay of it. He's very aggressive, almost solo kills Aspect with all of this damage. Luckily that Command Protect is enough to save his life, and then comes the cavalry.
Surdy having lane priority against the Scion, makes his way down, as well as Tomio just coming up from the crab. Oh, looking for the spear on the top Poon. This is a huge wave that Tomio is going to have to be fighting in, so needs to be careful, just needs to be patient. Poon doesn't really have many outs. Oh, wait, guys, this is a huge minion wave. Got to be careful about this. Oh, the minions might kill Top Poon, but he gets the last-minute Primal Surge heal. It's going to be enough, and Surdy and Tomio are able to make the play work.
I was watching Tomio's health bar in the middle of that minion wave drop 600, 500, 400, 300, and then he dives in like, oh no, Tomio, you're getting 8v1'd by the minions, but does still find enough damage in the end, and Evil Genius's Prodigies start off this game with 2 kills, both of which participated by Surdy and Tomio, and this is exactly what we wanted to see off of this draft. The Camille and the Nidalee have so much power packed in for their first few levels, and it's immediately capitalized on by the Prodigies.
Yeah, hookshot into spear. It's not always the most easy to execute, but just enough raw power in their combat stats and their ability to set up for one another comes forward and for full fruition, not only in that Syndra gank, but also this play against Top Poon. It was very close. I mean, my goodness, he was single-digit HP for sure, but last-minute Primal Surge as well. By the way, another good thing about taking Conquer, allows you to take Triumph.
Hey, there it is.
God bless. And if you're always living on the edge, like Tomio is on this Nidalee, and it's a valuable rune to take in these early skirmishes.
He is definitely living on the edge in this game currently, Rafa. As he has sacrificed his jungle tempo as far as the farm is concerned, just to get these early plays down, both of which have been successful in this game, but it's not without the price of Potluck finding a lot on the backside of it. Up about 4 camps. We'll try to continue that lead and grow it further. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Tapoon is getting yet another wave crashed into him. He does have some trading capabilities in this lane. I say as he's about to die. Okay, never mind.
Wow. It was it was so fast.
I've never been so wrong so quickly in my life.
Well, Tomio is going to answer a gank coming out from Potluck, but he's going to flash forward, gets a lilting lullaby down onto 2. Shiro, does he have enough damage to be able to answer back? Mist is going to flash in respect of the damage coming out from Immortals Academy, but Keith gets a spirit chucked in his face. Tomio going a little too far forward. He's going to get locked up by the Senna W, and it's going to be enough. Tapoon with the engage here, and Keith finally finds one on the Mist. Tapoon being able to answer back, gets one for side of Immortals Academy. Meanwhile, we have a mid lane one-on-one Pretty, already using his Unleashed Power aspect, answering back with the Shockwave, but he has access to the Honey Fruit. But the rest of Immortals Academy, they're coming in reinforcements, and he has to flash forward so he doesn't get routed off by the rest of the Immortals Academy bottom lane. But my goodness, Max, we had a lot of fighting, a lot of action in this game 1.
What did I tell you, man? The Tomio script is very, very chaotic. Kills across the board. Let's look at the results of this so far, because we're seeing that there are just so many numbers going on at the bottom of my screen. Surdy, most notably, is 2-0, and his lane opponent dies for a 3rd time after immediately teleporting off of dying in lane alone. He teleports down to bot lane to try to save his AD carry, which he does. Both Keith and Potluck actually do survive this against all odds. Look how low he gets. It's ridiculous. Another auto attack through, and Potluck still survives. But Tapoon goes into the turret, dies a 3rd time. But it's okay, because he's Scion.
He will still be able to do his job at some point in the game. In fact, he's already doing his job already. He sets up plays. But this does open up a potential win condition for Evil Genius's Prodigies, as Surdy, now very far ahead in this lane, having a Sheen and a Kindle Gem to his name, which I believe this is the making of a Divine Sunderer. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it can still be Triforce. I think it can be both. So.
Oh, I guess it's dependent on whether it's a Phage or the new Phage item.
Yeah.
Man.
The Hearthbound Axe, I believe it is
Hearthbound
called.
Axe. Thank you. I was going to call it chopping axe. No, that sounds right.
It's neat. It's a neat item. It is exactly what Phage used to be, and Phage still exists, so it's kind of confusing, but
Phage is now something different. Yeah. It is what it is. Things change, you know, and we adapt. We evolve. Tomio gonna have to adapt with the fact that Potluck is trying to steal his blue buff, and he says, thanks to you for the leash. Potluck is a little sad. Doesn't get to secure the prize that he was looking for. But he's still going to try to invade onto Tomio, as he does have bot lane priority. Joey does have access to Abyssal Voyage. Tomio going to get forced out of his own jungle. Can he get the... No way. Oh, okay. I was about to say, it would have just added insult to injury that Potluck is not able to make any steals happen. But he gets the Gromp, and they have the priority to set up for the first dragon of the game.
Again, we're seeing in the series today some late dragons, but you know, that's completely fine. We're still seeing a lot of kills and a lot of action in this game, which is another avenue that you can take. And if you're Evil Genius's Prodigies, you're really wanting to keep that tempo moving forward at the speed of sound, snowballing your win conditions of Surdy, Tomio, and Shiro in this game. And not to mention Aspect in this one too. He's on this Orianna, who typically is a more team serviceable mage. Can still pump out a ton of damage in those late game team fights once you get a lot of ability power packed into your kit.
Just passing the 10-minute mark here. Next dragon will not spawn for another 4 minutes. Rift Herald already was taken early on into the game when it spawned. Looking at these advantages here, as with the Hearthbound Axe, this will actually now be Eternity Force. As thank you for correcting me, Smacks, as I jumped the ball on the item completions. With that first item completion for Surdy, he will be further unlocked and enabled to start the split push war against Tapoon, as looking to get a little cheeky. Misses the hook shot stun there, but still getting the empowered auto attacks there.
You could still be right, Rafa. Maybe he just likes the Hearthbound Axe. You never know.
I appreciate you trying to make me feel better, Smacks, but it's okay. I'll accept. I'll take the L for now. We'll continue moving forward. Life goes on.
Yep. Up in this top lane, though, for Surdy, he's still shoving these waves into the turret. He does pick up that turret plating and is going to continue looking for more, as Tomio does still hold on to the Rift Herald for about a minute more. Maybe they can even take down this entire turret if they notice that Top Moon is in fact recalling, but does have access to the ultimate if all things start to fall down. So yeah, they're not quite going to go for it quite yet. And Tomio still has those purple hands.
It's not quite
There's the
Lich
ult
Bane
anyway.
purple hands. But, oh. Well, Scion ultimate, choo choo choo, is heard throughout the rift as Potluck throwing a swirling Saint bowling ball. Does not, he hit Aspect, but it's not the strike that he's looking for, as not gonna go for the play quite yet. And I'll direct your attention here, Smacks. Aspect has gone for Mercury Treads, so it's not quite Verdant Barrier investment yet. Whereas Pretty went for Lucidity Boots, but he does have a no Magic Mantle. So we could see a Verdant Barrier completion before he completes that first mythic item off of that Lost Chapter purchase. And the second dragon coming up in about 2 minutes. We are just kind of buying time as Tomio looks like he ran out of time on the clock here. So he's just going to send the Rift Herald into this top lane. I would like to see if Potluck is able to answer in response and prevent it from getting too many charges down and empowering Surdy further in this lane.
Like it's gonna at least get that first one. I don't think it's gonna be able to do much more than that one, and it doesn't. Potluck shows up in the nick of time, just to say hi. Speaking of those first mythics, though, Tomio already has this Night Harvester, so any spear targets will be feeling the heat. Hasn't been too many of those, though, other than the jungle camps, since we saw all the scuffles earlier on.
Uh-oh. Joey gonna face check into Mist and Shiro. Mist taking a lot of damage on the back end of it, though, and Joey's just really damn tanky, but Surdy has the teleport advantage. Gonna be the first one to the party as Tapoon finally, or Tapoon, I should say, makes his appearance here. It's enough to dissuade Evil Genius's Prodigies from fighting further. But now everyone is here for the dragon just a minute early to the party.
Similar to what we saw in the last series, Senatom Kench are tremendously difficult to actually kill. Although, lots of summoner spells were used and disposed of by Evil Genius's Prodigies in that exchange. This does potentially mean that they can start looking toward the dragon win condition, as we're getting toward the second dragon of the game in 25 seconds just about. Another mythic completed. There's the Trinity Forest for Surdy. And as plates drop, he is likely the richest person on the rifts.
Yeah, well, why don't we, as this dragon is coming up, we could probably get a quick look at the gold charts for these teams. For Trinity Force completed, as you said, Surdy, we're going to take bets. Is he the richest person on the map? I'm going to say it's Tomio, just to... I
think it's Surdy.
Just to make it spicy. Oh!
You won by 15 gold. Okay. All right.
All right. You want to switch positions now, Smash? You want to take play-by-play? I'll take color. Wait. Surdy just might go down. What?
Huh. I think... No, he doesn't have teleport. I don't know what that was. I was gonna say that he was looking for a teleport angle, so he's looking across the map, but no, that wasn't it. I don't know what that was.
Well, it happens, Max, and unfortunately, as we said a couple times, life goes on. We must accept that Surdy, I guess he was trying to save that minion wave from being crashed in. It was a lot of free minion gold and XP that he did lose out on, as Tapoon being able to make use of the fact that despite going down 3 times early on into the game, like you said, Smacks, he's still Scion, and he's still a damn nuisance.
Oh, we get to watch it again? Yeah, I still don't know what's going on here.
Slow down, man. Surdy. Surdy.
Yeah, we're gonna need to see it again, because that still didn't help me.
No, don't do it to him like that, man. They caught him in 4K already. You don't need to expose him further like that. That's just rude at that point. I feel like Kelsey Moser will already have a stern talking to Surdy after the game, so it's like I think that's all the punishment you need at that point. But for Evil Genius's Prodigies, it doesn't mean that Surdy is just completely out.
There it is.
I can't. Look what you've done, Smacks. Not again. We are
Maybe this time I can figure out what's going on. All right, it's very slow. Okay. He dodges. He doesn't dodge, actually. Okay. Yeah, I'm still not getting it. But you know what? That's just gonna have to be my own personal review. I think that's on me at this point. I've been given ample time.
You can VOD
see.
review with Cubby later tonight,
Yeah.
as he's been reviewing all the games on his personal stream. So
There it is.
good analytical work here, as Immortals are able to pick up the second Rift Herald of the game, and now with 2 dragons to the name. Apart from all the early skirmishing action that we saw, mainly off of the back of Tomio's Nidalee here, the game has slowed down quite a bit, and that does play into the ballpark of what Immortals Academy want to do, because this is Keith on the Senna, and he wants to scale.
The problem with that, though, Rafa, is that the rest of this composition from Immortals, again, doesn't have very much damage packed into it. You do have a Syndra, who is scaling up, has this Everfrost, trying to get as much gold as he possibly can, but once you're seeing that the magic resist comes through from all of these members, it becomes more and more obvious that Immortals really only have damage in Keith in this game, who doesn't yet have his Kraken Slayer. So for Evil Genius's Prodigies, I feel like, yes, a lot of these champions scale worse than Senna, because Senna is just an infinite scaling champion with range and damage alike. It can still come to a halt if Evil Geniuses just find a Hextech Ultimatum onto Keith, or a Death Sentence, or perhaps a Shockwave. All of these options are at their disposal, and for Immortals, they're going to have to keep that in mind as they trek through Summoner's Rift in this Game 1.
Almost at the 20-minute mark here. Third dragon will be spawning around the same time here. And what used to be a favorite matchup for Surdy in his top lane, now starting to become much more difficult. Sion has that chem tank, has the Bramble and the steel-plated caps. That combo alone makes any physical damage-based top laner very sad, as they try to sustain up as best as they can, and the efforts are mostly futile. The Grievous Wounds coming in from that 800 gold investment makes their lives not as fun, but Surdy is doing his best to be able to keep Tapoon in this top lane, as both do have teleport for this upcoming dragon, and I probably want to see either Surdy preventing Tapoon from getting the teleport off, or he needs to get a recall in sometime soon so he's full health and he can be at full strength and capacity for this objective.
Surdy very well could be wishing that he did in fact purchase the Divine Sunder in this 1v1 against Tapoon, as would help him deal some extra % health damage and help him sustain a little bit more. It's Keith hit by the Death Sentence, but we're seeing the strength of Tahm Kench Devour is still very strong, even outside of that laning phase against this Thresh. Immortals continue to try to help Keith along with his scaling, and hitting this third dragon would certainly accomplish that goal. It would put them at soul point in this game, Rafa. It's up to Evil Geniuses to respond.
But they do even want to fight this. They're not going to be able to get in time for the Dragon's secure here. It's already taken by Immortals Academy, but Shockwave does land on the 2, onto Keith and the Joey. Surdy looking for the Hextech Ultimatum. Is going to put the Catfish into the Dome of Doom, but it's not enough. There's just not enough damage coming out from Evil Genius's Prodigies. The front line is doing so much, but the Death Sentence lands onto Keith! They had a Tahm Kench, they had all these protections, they still find a way to take down Keith. And Tomio on a rampage looking for the double. Already picks it up, another spear lands. Is this the setup for Tomio's show? Oh, Tomio, where art thou? He's killing everyone on Immortals Academy.
Potentially still going, Rafa. They have some speed ups. No, it is going to be Pretty and Potluck making their getaway, but we're seeing the strength of the comp the Evil Geniuses Prodigies have put together, or perhaps just the weakness of that of Immortals, where they just don't have that much damage in a sustained fight. Evil Geniuses will be able to out-sustain them and continue pushing forward with all the damage that comes with these champions, and most notably Tomio, as Surdy has found himself in a 1v1.
The adaptive shield. Oh, man.
Dark
Poor
Passage,
Potluck.
everyone.
Yep. Miss coming in, the clutch hero, saving Surdy's life from certain death. Potluck even investing the flash and just not having enough damage on the back end. Let's take another look at this fight here, Smacks.
Genius is late to the party. I wanna take note of what Mist is able to accomplish in this fight, because not only does he predict that hook onto Top Moon, landing that even after his flash. Watch this next hook. Oh, it denies the spear from Tomio, which would have otherwise connected, but still, there's more than enough damage in the follow-up to push that one through, and even right there, flaying Top Moon away from Surdy keeps his top laner alive. Mist just playing this fight really, really well on the Thresh, landing very crucial hooks in that one, and keeping Evil Genius's Prodigies ahead when it comes to these fights.
Uh-oh. Okay, I thought they were going for the flank on the aspect, but the tower still being there and Tomio waiting in the wings. It's enough to dissuade them from goon squatting aspect, but they take down the first tier turret on that top side of the map. But Surdy still making the split push happen as he has a Titanic Hydra now. Huge second item completion.
Turret starts attacking him instead of the minions, so can't quite fully demolish that turret. He's still thinking about sticking around, though, and Mist is there to support that endeavor.
Potluck is here waiting in the wings.
Yeah, he can't quite go for a kill play, as Potluck and Top Moon are here to make sure that he doesn't get that one down. Maybe on a Potluck, though. Get some spooky vision toggles.
Indeed.
Owie! Actually, it doesn't hurt that much.
Yeah, I mean, this is a full income Tom Kench, so he's able to get Chem Tank, and looks like he's making his way towards a
Stone Plate, I believe.
Stone Plate? Okay, okay. That's what I figured it was going to be built into. I didn't remember if the Bulwark still...
Oh, a Splinter. Tom Kench. Getting poked.
Well, the poke is not meant for Tom Kench. It's meant for the Senna that's hiding behind the Tom Kench. Eventually, Tomio may be able to hit one. It's hard when there's a giant catfish in the way. But that is the point of this composition in the first place, as the box is already being thrown down by Mist, as anticipating Immortals Academy trying to get aggressive. Gonna just force their way into unlocking this first tier turret. Chain of Corruptions does land, but there's still a Tom Kench on the field. So, like you said, Smacks, it's very hard to punish Keith. It takes more than one crowd control spell. You just have to continue layering crowd control on top after the Devour's already been expended.
I would like to take this time to point out that Shiro is really dedicated to this on-hit build, has a Nashor's Tooth as his second item, and I think that is neat.
Poggers!
Going for some more magic damage in the sustained variety. It's Tomio an aspect of got the burst down pat. This is cool. I just think it's cool.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely with you. I haven't seen this quite yet. I know that AP Varus was a variant that we saw, I don't remember if it was last year or sometime like late Season 9, but there was like a variant where his W on-hit damage scaled tremendously with AP, and then of course the active now that you can press on W to empower your Q makes it just as deadly as normal lethality Varus would do. So it's nuts. And then of course whenever you proc the blight stacks, you do a ton of HP max health, and against someone like Sion, that makes a lot of sense.
It does. But we're gonna have to see what these teams can do when it comes to this dragon. This is Soul Point. It would be that Infernal Soul online for Immortals if they did secure the dragon. 30 on the wings, trying to get some mid lane priority. Does get a cannon minion through, so that wave will be pushing in favor of Evil Genius's Prodigy for quite some time. But he may have been found out by the Turbo Chem Tank.
Well, he misses the unstoppable onslaught, but Surdy does have the flash away from Pretty, as he did have the Scatter the Weak stun prepared. Potluck is the only one currently trying to contest for the dragon. Tomio does secure it, but look at Surdy. He's found an angle onto Pretty, but he doesn't have enough damage. He's going to pop a stopwatch. I don't think he's going to get out of alive. Pretty finds him onto the back end of it, and Evil Genius's Prodigies. They already got the Infernal Dragon. They're now down a member. Don't recommend fighting any longer, and they will definitely take their leave.
Immortals, though, seeing that Surdy is dead, are positioning and thinking about starting up on this Baron. They're going to have to do this before Surdy comes back to life, though, as he does have this teleport, and realizing very quickly that this composition has little to no damage, they do not go for it. It's another downside of a composition like this. Baron takes way too long to actually kill the Immortals. They do get one kill, but they're just walking around, scratching their heads, thinking, we didn't really get anything out of that. Let's try it next time.
For Evil Geniuses, they are still 3,000 gold ahead. They are able to prevent Infernal Soul from being attained here by Immortals Academy. They're going to have to try and do it again in about 3.5 minutes. As we take a quick look at the gold lead, man, Tomio. Look at Tomio, man. 2,000 above a potluck. You also see Shiro having a 2,000 gold lead as well over Keith. Now, granted, the real lead should be against Joey since he's the one that's farming, but still, Joey's also still 2,000 down against Shiro as well, or about 1,500.
So far, Shiro has used his gold lead to keep pushing this AP build. He now has a Blighting Jewel, so making his way toward what is likely to be the...
That's awesome.
The Void Staff as his third item. He could just hold on to the Jewel, I suppose.
Oh, take the Lantern! Okay. Well, Ensemble Onslaught is still going to follow up and make the punish happen. Shiro having to flash away. Pretty is on the back end of the flank, but the rest of the damage is coming out onto this front line, and it's a huge knockup from Tapoon. Lands onto 3 members, but it's still not enough damage. Miss is going to be able to sustain back up, and it looks like the rest of Evil Genius's Prodigies have done their due diligence of being able to get out of what seems like a deadly engage from Immortals Academy.
Both teams walk away with everyone staying alive. But yeah, Tapoon's crowd control is so scary for EGP to deal with. Even though Immortals don't have very much burst damage, all it really takes is enough crowd control for EGP to just stand there and get hit by, and you will still die. They learned the hard way there. Not quite the hardest way they could learn, but still, hopefully taking away that lesson when it comes to the next fight here. Rafa is making their way toward 30 minutes in. We're not really getting the high-octane game that the first 5 minutes promised us, but you know what? That's completely fine.
At some points, Max, you can't always keep the energy up. You gotta make sure you are enjoying the ride. And check this out, Max. Tomio has bought a QSS just to ensure that he doesn't get caught out by Lilting Lullaby or any other crowd control from Immortals Academy, but they might have just found Joey. Oh my gosh, he didn't get a chance to pop the Gray Health Shield. And they have found Potluck. Beautiful timing on the spear as well. Just annihilates the jungler for Immortals Academy. With the jungler gone, with the support gone, it's a 3-on-5, and Evil Genius's Prodigies are looking at the Baron.
Just like that, Rafa, all it takes is a couple of skill shots from Evil Genius's Prodigies, and your jungler and support are dead. Now, Keith, Pretty, and Tapoon have to try to stop this Baron take, or maybe suffer the consequences of Game 1.
A lot of damage onto Mist, though. He might just give his life for the greater cause. Evil Geniuses do secure the Baron, and Surdy going in for the engage and takes down Keith. Tapoon now trying to run the hell away. He doesn't have Unstoppable Onslaught. He doesn't have Flash, and the hook shot is enough to slot him down. Shiro's going to put a bunch of arrows into him and takes him out.
Mist is the sacrificial lamb for the Prodigies, but they get all that they wanted and more. 4 kills, and the Baron leave EGP 5,000 gold ahead. They have all the strength in the world that they could possibly need to go for this next dragon and deny this away from Immortals. It will be up to Potluck to try desperately to get this win condition online, because Lord knows that the Immortals Academy squad needs some more damage.
Yeah, chat. Smacks, it's not even Sunday yet, and already Immortals Academy are going to need a prayer to get back into this game. There's already Evil Genius's Prodigies just being able to annihilate 2 priority targets, one after another. And we talked about defensive capabilities of this Tahm Kench. It's not enough, though, if he's the one that's getting focused down.
They can't even get into the pit. They can't even look at the dragon. that would have given them Infernal Soul, Rafa. Doesn't matter how many dragons you get, as long as that number is less than 4, we'll still have a bad time, as Immortals Academy are discovering. Moving forward into this game, it's just so tricky with a comp like this to find fight victories when they just don't have very easy avenues to kill anyone. You can see even potentially finding a pick onto Surdy.
Well,
Actually,
Joey says, guys, I'm going to force this, even if I have to give up my flash. It's a shutdown for Keith, but Evil Geniuses, they have Baron-empowered minions here. They're not going to end the game quite yet, as Tapoon has already recalled back. We'll be able to answer, but it's an inhibitor given up. And there's no other objectives on the map that Immortals Academy can really fight for. They're going to take out Tomio's top side of the jungle, but in the grand aspect of all things considered, that bottom lane is now unlocked for EGP to threaten, as Surdy does have teleport upon respawning, and he is a Camille. So, backdoor Nexus, anyone?
There's a Death Brush going on. Or is there? The recalls are channeled. Some stealth offered.
Oh, good night, Mist!
See ya.
They're going to look for more into Shiro. Lilting Lullaby is not going to come out. Oh! What?
AP Varus, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. That's a lot of burst.
Yo,
I think
we
that arrow
gotta...
did like 900 damage.
After this series, Max, we gotta run this in like practice tool or something, because I need to see the numbers on this. Surdy and the rest of EGP are feeling pretty optimistic about their chances of forcing another fight, knowing that Potluck is not on the field. Aspect trying to follow up in advance, still has Shockwave, gonna hold it, finds it onto 2 members, but Joey has already swelled up pretty, making sure that he's gonna stay alive. But EGP now have an advantage. Looking at this mid lane turret and gonna try to do some structure damage, maybe look to unlock the base even further.
Wave pushing in already for them. They knock down their 6th turret of the game, and now they're on their quest to eat through all of the jungle of Potluck and the Immortals. Looking pretty grim for them in this first game. Potentially going to be needing to look for the rest of the series to try to advance and play up against Dignitas Academy in the next round. It's missed. Now let's get picked off. So that's a nice play from Mortals.
I want to see how much damage. So he gets, he only has 2 Blight stacks. What? Oh, okay, there's a Tomio Spear that flew in on the backside, and that aided into the kill. I didn't see that. I thought he just lost, like, 3/4 of his HP off of a Varus Q that's AP. And oh my, Max, he's fully invested. He's got a large rod, so this is going to be a death cap Varus. Oh, baby. First we had AP Twitch come up a few patches ago. Now we're getting AP Varus.
I think if you like showed me this build and asked me what champion I thought it was, it would take me like 10 guesses to figure out who it is. I'd be like, Kale? I don't know.
Yeah, Kale.
This is awesome. This is really cool from Shiro, showing that he doesn't need the signature Kaisa, the signature Samira to pop off. He doesn't need any mobility at all for that matter. Just needs some ability power and a bow. And he will kill the entire front and back line of the opposing team.
I mean, check this.
Yeah.
Check this out, Smax. There's something I didn't even think about this until looking at the rest of the itemization defensive-wise for Immortals Academy. They all rushed armor items, right? Because they were anticipating that not only Surdy was going to be a problem, but also Shiro was going to be a problem. And yet he pivoted off of the Kraken Slayer into this on-hit AP build. And you look at things like, you know, the recent itemization. It's a Zonia's for Potluck, and it's a Thormail from Tapoon. And you can argue, like, well, yes, of course, this is what they're going to itemize anyway, but knowing that there's a lot of armor coming out, the AP gets so much more value, as Surdy is now going to start off a fight onto Joey. Tapoon is coming around to the backside. Maybe he can look for a re-engage, but it looks like EGP, as soon as they start the fight, they choose to back off.
Trying to chunk out the members before the 6th dragon of the game, Rafa. Making our way toward that peak number where maybe even Evil Genius's Prodigies could snag up the soul. Lots of poke being dropped down from both teams as there comes the engage.
Unstoppable Onslaught lands on a miss, forcing him to flash away. Aspect looking still for the Shockwave. He has the ball, threatening to answer onto the backline. Shockwave going to clip Joey, but they take down Tapoon. Shiro just wiping out his HP bar.
Sure does so much damage. I think that arrow did like 1,000 with just the one shot. This is a really, really cool build. I'm going to keep gushing about this until the game is over, Rafa. This is just so creative from Shiro. Now Tommy and Aspect have to try to ward off Immortals. This is their soul.
Yeah, and Podluck, they have an advantage here. Podluck is able to secure it despite Tomio going in for the kill. Tomio popping the Zhonya's Hourglass, and Podluck looking for a re-engage with that lilting lullaby. Gonna find Aspect, forcing him to flash away. Tomio, does he get out of this one? I don't think so, but the Protect Shield comes out. Tomio will be able to answer one back onto Joey before going down.
What a creative play from Joey there, Rafa. In the nick of time, the Immortals jungle and support duo find their way to the pit, and they lock down the Dragon Soul. And Evil Genius's Prodigies were caught completely unaware by that. They were just going to go directly for the Baron while Tomio secures the Dragon. They're like, okay, we just wiped out so many of their teammates. We can just take all these objectives in the world if we want to. And no, they absolutely cannot. They will get shut down right away, and it will be stolen away from Tomio there too. This is that win condition for Immortals. This is the damage that they might be able to need, and they might be able to use to close out a lot of these fights.
I love League of Legends, Max. These are such good games that we're getting a chance to cast. Even though Evil Geniuses do have a 7,000 gold lead, Keith has scaled up on the Senna, and Immortals Academy have secured the Infernal Soul for them. They have a massive front line.
157 souls. It's a long game here, Rafa. That's a lot of range. It is
indeed. We are about to hit the 40-minute mark here. We are going for the end game. An EGP. You know, that many members to look at, but Shiro at this point has to be your primary target to take out at the beginning of these fights if you're Immortals Academy. Because if you've been paying attention to the last few fights, Max, when Shiro builds up these Blight stacks and he pops an arrow on someone, not even the tankiest members are able to withstand these piercing arrows.
Certainly not. Shiro. See him on your screen, just trying to channel these arrows and poke them into the backs of the Immortals. Thinking about this fight, we're going for the classic ARAM strategy. Just both of these teams not wanting to miss a beat, not wanting to be caught in that 4v5 or 3v5 situation. They can't go for those side lanes quite yet. They can't miss out on a potential engage. For Evil Geniuses, though, they do lay their claim on the bottom side of the map, and it does pave the way for the Immortals to start up this Baron.
Well,
less than 10k.
This, Max. Surdy doesn't have teleport, and they're fully committing to the split push. So EGP, even if they get the Baron, no way. It's that 2k health. It's still being burned down. Wait, he can just walk in? Where's Podluck? Did they just give over the Baron, like, for free? EGP now have a win con. They get the teleport in. Surdy already pushing in the Baron. They have Baron empowered minions. They're going to split push. They're going to look to backdoor the game. I believe it's Pretty or Toppoon coming in, but he's already low 1k HP. Aspect and Surdy, they're going to try to do their best to buy as much time, but it's a 3-man shockwave that's going to save Surdy's life, and now the rest of EGP are falling in. They take down one Nexus turret. The game isn't over yet, Smacks, but man, what a head scratcher from Immortals Academy.
They just disrespect Tomio's capability to get over that wall so much. I don't know how they could let that one slide through the cracks, Rafa. They have all of these wards they can throw over that wall. They have all these members to just go and take away that blast cone or just sit there and make sure Tomio can't get over. They even have Podluck with Smite, who could have just stayed in the pit and tried to take it away, but no, he walks out, tries to start up this fight, but Tomio leashes that Baron. I'm so shocked that they let him do this, but Evil Genius's Prodigies, they take exactly what they can get right there. They steal away this Baron, and they keep control over this gold lead, almost at 10,000 now. All the while, Surdy is in the enemy base taking an inhibitor and a Nexus turret.
The gamble pays off, and I have to say, Smacks, I'm almost certain that this is not the first time we've seen this happen from Evil Genius's Prodigies, where they take the gamble, say, you know what, Surdy, just go split. We're going to see if we can get the Baron steal, and Tomio makes it happen. You know, whether it was a blunder from Immortals Academy or just an opportunistic event from Tomio. The world may never know, as EGP now, they have the Baron on their side, and despite the Infernal Soul being in favor of Immortals Academy, you can see that how much pressure they're able to put down onto these structures with these empowered minions.
Comes the minion waves. Top lane and mid lane alike. Both are going to fall under the Baron minion pressure. Potentially even the inhibitors, as it doesn't look like Immortals even care about this. They're killing Mist.
They're killing Mist, but I think we got a camera onto Surdy because it's going to be him that ends the game right here, right now. He is just, he doesn't care about the rest of the fight happening. Ladies and gentlemen, like Immortals Academy just completely blindsided to Surdy, just ending the game on this Camille. Oh, man. Oh, you know, I had my moment in game 2 of the last series. Smacks now is, oh, man. I'm so sorry, Smacks.
Huh? How did they just let this happen?
You know...
You just walked right past them. In the base. What?
I don't know what to tell you, Smacks. It is what it is. EGP, take game 1 here, ladies and gentlemen. And as we take some time for Smacks to recover and make sure he doesn't go to the insane asylum, we'll be back for game 2 between Immortals Academy and EGP.